If you are visiting Barbados, this is your guide to everything you need to know, from nightlife to food, finding your accommodations, how to drive, understanding Bajan slang, my favorite experiences, through to how to make friends for all my expats and where to find your groceries. I lived in Barbados for 4 months. If that sounds like information that you need, stay tuned. Oh, and if you'd rather a PDF and just skip the video, I got you. That is below. You can go ahead and grab that. It's in the description. It'll have my top 5 favorite everything. I think it's on sale for $10 now. Go ahead and grab that, save yourself the time. Just make your life easier. By the way, my name's Chazine. Nice to meet you. All right, let's kick it off with 10 things I wish I knew before I moved to Barbados. Trust me, make sure you get everything on this list. Number 1, groceries are very expensive. Yes, I got passionate when I said that. However, I realized at the end of my trip, I know it took me a minute, US brands are expensive. If you can figure out what the local brands are to buy, like do whatever you have to do, ask the people in the supermarket who are local, which brands they recommend, buy those and you'll be good. And if you wanna see pricing examples, go ahead and click this video in the cards or in the description below to watch my full vlog going supermarket shopping or grocery shopping, okay? You'll see all the prices of like 50+ products. And the cheapest places to shop are Popular and apparently Cherish, which I never went to, but Popular Supermarket versus Massey Supermarket. It's gonna be a lot more expensive, but in Massey, you'll find more US products or products that we're familiar with in the US. Number 2, driving in Barbados is extremely hard. And it's not just driving on the left side. That's like one battle in itself. And once you get over that, you have to figure out how to go through the roundabouts. You've got to figure out which lane to stay in when you're in the roundabouts. There's narrow streets, there's no street lighting, and there's no handbook that they give you when you sign up for a permit to understand these things. But if you want that information, go ahead and click on this video up here or the video below, and you will get a rundown of my personal advice to you if you are driving. But the main thing I will say is make sure you get a hired car. A hired car has an H on the license plate so that people know you are not from Barbados. And what usually happens for the most part is they might give you like a little more grace, you know what I'm saying? Or people might be willing to help you more because they know you're not from here, versus you getting a private car that doesn't have the H. They'll just assume you're a Bajan driving, and you're not granted that grace. Number 3, if you're heading out, especially in the night, most things have a special day or popular day where most people are there. So for example, Mojo's. I went there for the first time. It's on Hastings Road, and it was good. A friend took me there, said it was their favorite place to go, and I was like, okay, it's nice, it seems cute. And every time people wanted to go to Mojo's after, I was like, nah, I'll pass, I've been there already. Come to find out, Wednesday is when they have live reggae, and it is poppin', y'all. Like a ton of people. Cue the B-roll. Ton of people come out. And I was blown away by how different it was from the time that I was there, but I had no clue there was a popular night. Well, here's the thing. Most places on Hastings Road and St. Lawrence Gap and 1st and 2nd Street, the three of the popular places to hang out in the night, have a special popular night. And if you want to know a little bit more about those, go ahead and click on the video. You already know the deal. It's in the cards and it's in the description, and you'll get more detail on some recommendations that I have for y'all. Is this helpful thus far, y'all? Like, are these some tips that you really had no clue about? Go ahead and click the like button. That's your way to repay me, and drop a comment below. It lets the algorithm know, hey, this is a good video. Let's share it with more people. Sharing is caring so that they can get the information. All right, thank you, y'all. Number 4, ladies, bring your heels. And I don't know, someone somewhere is probably rolling their eyes at me because of whatever reason. But in most of the Caribbean islands, when I visit, especially if there's no special event going on, I don't really need to bring more than 1 pair of heels. And I kind of keep it kind of low key in terms of my attire, especially if people are American or British. There tends to be this tourist Caribbean attire that most people wear. Not here, okay? If you go out to one of those popular nights that I mentioned, you're gonna want to do it up. You're gonna want to do it up big, trust me. Just don't play yourself. Don't play yourself. I have said it before and I'll say it again. To me, Barbados is like the New York of the Caribbean. If you would not come to New York in your basics, don't go to Barbados in your basics. This next one is basic, but say good morning and good afternoon and good evening to everybody, because that's pretty much the practice there. Yeah, you don't want to come off as rude. Not at all. And while we're on that note about not looking like you're rude, if you're going there during the pandemic, as soon as you walk into any building, you have to have your mask on, of course, or maybe not of course to you, knowledge that you would have had, but yes, that's something that you need. And then they're gonna spray your hands with hand sanitizer and you're supposed to check your temperature. If you start walking past that temperature/hand sanitizer machine, people are gonna be like, excuse me. They do not play, y'all. Now, if you are looking to do cabs, know that there is no Uber there, all right? And if you're going to book a cab, you most likely have to book it at least a day in advance to be safe. It's probably better to even book it a couple of days in advance to make sure your driver is available. But that's something different. If you're from the US, you might have to get used to. There's no Uber or anything of Uber nature. While we're on the topic of transportation, they have buses there, like regular buses, and then they have ZR buses, which if you've been to New York, I would say it's comparable to a dollar van. So those run much more frequently on main roads. So you'd have to figure out, depending on where you're staying on the South Coast, you can catch those pretty often and pretty regularly. And when I say regularly, I mean like literally probably like every 5 minutes there's a ZR passing, and they will, on their license, it'll say ZR on the license plate, but that's how they pronounce ZR. Now for the buses, they run on a schedule, but like not really. So I'm just forewarning you. Next tip. So some people, if you're gonna be an expat there, they often ask me about how you make friends. Now, if you watch my stories, you already know God just came through, you know, and introduced me to some bomb people. But one thing that was helpful is I met a few people before I went to Barbados. So I met some people on vacation there, one. And then I also met some folks via Facebook groups, via Instagram, and YouTube. So what I would encourage you to do, like if people are talking about going to Barbados and they say they're down there, I would definitely hit them up and just ask them a few more questions, see if you guys vibe, and who knows, maybe a friendship can occur. If there is someone on Instagram, let's say I work in production, right? I'm a video producer. I would do a search for video producers in Barbados and try to see if there's some sort of connection there. Hey, let's link up, you know, and then see from there. You never know. So I think it's always worth a try. But I think in life, period, right? When you're networking, it's always great to figure out what y'all have in common, what's relatable to that person. And that's like a great starting point. By the way, if you've never watched my video on networking or the masterclass in effective networking, you can find them here in the cards, or I'll tag it below in the description. Key points that I've used in this industry working in production. And honestly, I feel like they translate unknowingly to creating friendships as well, or they can be useful for it. Once again, if this is helpful, let me know. Go ahead and click the like button. Let me know. And if you want me to do a part 2 or 3, let me know and drop a comment below. If you're planning to buy clothing there, it's very expensive. Like, you're gonna pay a lot. It's almost not worth it unless you really need something. My personal advice is either buy things overseas and have someone bring it to you if they're visiting you, or get the clothing made, okay? If you're a female and you're looking for a clothing store to go to, I did enjoy at Lanterns Mall, Vibrant. I think the store is called Vibrant Boutique. They have some nice things there, and I actually bought 2 things there for my birthday and look cute. Let me pop them in here. And yes. If you are deciding to bring things into the country or the island, I highly recommend you remove all packaging, because once customs kicks back in, they are going to charge you extra for anything that they know is new. And if it's still in its new packaging, then they know it's new. All right, that's a tip for y'all. Okay, here's a note on tipping. So tipping is not required. It's actually incorporated in the bill in the service charge. But something I learned recently is if you're gonna tip someone, I would say do it with cash and make sure you put it in their hand. Because what happens with the service charge is that it gets split by all the workers in the restaurant or in that location. And so it doesn't just go to your person that served you or your waiter that served you that night. Now, if you do a tip, I'm not 100% sure, but I would assume that if you do a tip via card, the same exact process is happening, because it needs to be given back to the person through the owner. And I would assume they would just split. It would take too much to like figure out everything. Remember, this is a different country, different island. So if you want to guarantee that your person who gave you great service gets a tip, give it to them cash and put it in their hands. But tip is not required, nor is it expected. Some good tips, right? Now I know y'all want to know about the nightlife, okay? Once again, I was there for 4 months, so I explored everything. Here's all of the places that you need to go, all right? And check out while you are there. This video is for all the people who are heading to Barbados and want to know where all the people at. Like, where can I see as many people as possible? Where can I find millennials? Yeah, I can't speak to the Gen Z, but millennials, where they at? Stay tuned. I'm gonna tell you how to find them. Okay, so first things first. Took me a while to figure this out. That's why you got me here. Most popular places that operate during the nighttime have a popular night. It's just up to you to figure out what night that is and what time. So how do you figure that out? It's not as easy as Googling it. Definitely not. And you can't just go to TripAdvisor because you don't know who the audience is and who's speaking. Is it someone who you would normally want to hang out with or not? Be that age or whatever other factors come into place. So the best thing to do is call the venue and just ask them. Just be straight up and ask them. If you can't get them on the phone, then ask around. Where's the best places to hang out and find millennials? Where, or whatever age range you're in, where can I find these people? And when you ask them that, here's the kicker. Ask them what day and what time. That was the mistake that I made because I would show up to places and be like, I thought they said this was popping. Ain't nobody here. Or I'd show up on the right day after someone told me, but it turns out people don't show up till a certain time. So for example, with Mojo's Wednesday night is the popular night. They have a live reggae band and it's honestly pretty dope. But the first time I went there, I had heard so many people talking about it. And then I got there and I was like, I mean, the food's good. It's a nice space, but you know, I don't need to go back. So many people kept inviting me, go to Mojo's. And I'm like, I'll pass. Until one night I showed up on Wednesday and I finally understood. And when I say to ask locals, ask people who look like folks that you would hang out with. Go to their Instagram page to find out what nights they have and what some options are in case there's certain nights that you're interested in. So for example, I think Dive Bar in St. Lawrence Gap has reggae or soca nights on Friday. But if you walk by on a Saturday or maybe it's a Sunday, you'll hear rock and roll. And you'll be deeply confused. This is what I mean. The theme nights and finding out your information is very important. Don't discount a place until you've done your due diligence. You'll be confused if you don't like rock music. If you like rock music, then you'll be good. And the last thing I'll say before I start giving you my personal recommendations is usually if there's a live band, that is a more popular night. That's a thing down there because some folks were mentioning live bands to me. It's not usually my thing. And so I turned down a lot of live band invitations until I finally went and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good. They'll do like covers of songs that you like. And so if you're going on the right theme night for music that you'd like to hear, it's actually pretty cool. And they're really good. Great person. I don't know a lot of the names, but Philip Scanterbury, I think is his name. I'll tag him here. He like does everything from reggae to hip hop. He'll rap and everything. This dude is good. What y'all trying to do? I'm so too high. Yeah. Oh yeah. He's good at what he does. Yeah, I'm gonna say this Negro, he's good. All right, y'all ready for the recommendations? So when I say nightlife, I'm talking about wherever you go in the night. Nothing in particular, not saying there'll be dancing opportunities there. I'm just saying wherever you go in the night and see crowds. So I've already covered Mojo's on Wednesday nights. That's a good one. Oyston's is popular on a Friday night. However, my personal thoughts, and I don't have video footage, is way too crowded. And when I say crowded, I mean jam-packed, can I move around? That's not a fun experience to me. So if that's your thing, go ahead, Friday night. If not, go another night. Go when there's a holiday. I'll throw some footage in of me there on a holiday that was pretty cool. Or maybe Saturday or Thursday nights. I haven't been there on those nights, but those are also, the weekend is always popular, right? So you can go there. I went there on a Monday night and there were people, but just like sparse groups of people. That's a beautiful thing about Barbados. Like no matter what night you go somewhere, there'll be people, like nothing will ever be dead. It'll be sparse groups of people once again. But at least there's an option for things to do every night, right? Is this helpful thus far? If it is, go ahead and click the like button. That's a great repayment to me. It lets YouTube know, hey, let's pass this video along to some other folks. Then you've got St. Lawrence Gap. So if you feel like dancing, I know most people usually go to Dive Bar. Like I said, as far as I know, double check it. I think reggae nights or soca nights are on Friday. St. Lawrence Gap you can do any day, but the most popular days I think are Friday, Saturday. I've never been there on a Sunday. And if you're going there, the time when people start dancing, their house is like 11 p.m. Yeah, you might go at 8 thinking, oh, where are the people? Chazine said, you know, this night is good, but it's like 11, 12, 1 o'clock is when people show up. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. So those are my recommendations, places I've actually been. You can explore other places in St. Lawrence Gap because it's literally a strip where there's just a ton of restaurants and then other places to like hang out. Another popular place is Worthing Square. So Worthing Square is a ton of different food trucks. And then like there's a bunch of picnic tables where people can sit down and eat. And the great thing about Worthing Square, I will say them on Thursday nights onward, there's a good amount of people there, which is great. Of course, Saturday and Sunday are always gonna be the most popular days for most places. But yeah, Worthing Square is a pretty great vibe. I actually did my going away thing there and it was cool because there was a lot of people that were out and then my friends were out and we didn't have to really set up anything. There was just picnic tables, we sat there, everyone could eat food at wherever they wanted to go, whatever food they wanted to try. And it was, as the Bajans say, a vibe. And then 1st and 2nd Street on the West Coast is another very popular area where people hang out, people around our age and people also Gen Z. What I did notice is Red Door tends to be more Gen Z. And there's a bunch of places around 1st and 2nd Street to explore. I know Jamestown is pretty popular and apparently Fridays are better days to go there. But once again, they go there, it's like 11, 12 p.m. You know, if you wanna hear some music and go with friends and grab a drink, you know, you can do that. But like I said, people will be there extremely late. So Jamestown is more like a lounge place to go, but if you want to hear some music, go with your friends, grab a drink, that's a place and an option that you can go. And my personal advice is like, if you can, go with your group of friends. I had the best experiences when I had my own group of friends and we were like enjoying ourselves. The great thing about Barbados is tourists and locals mix a lot, but they mix in terms of them being in the same location. But in terms of people approaching you and meeting new people, I don't see that happen too often personally. Most of the people I met through another mutual friend that we had, or if I initiated the conversation. Now let's jump into the food. I actually created 2 videos for these. So first I'm gonna share with you my 5 favorites at the top of my trip. And then I'm gonna link up with my girl Sabrina, Bajan Lifestyles, who is a local, and we're gonna explore our top favorite restaurants for things like nightlife, things like socializing, live music, etc. We categorize them all for you guys. Now, quick reminder, I've got a PDF below in the description with my top 5 favorite restaurants, favorite nightlife, favorite everything you need to know about Barbados to make your life easier. Links and addresses included. So go ahead and click that so that you can save yourself time on the research part. So today I went to brunch at Pavao. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's at Sweetfield Hotel, Sweetfield Inn, something like that. What I really liked about that place on a Saturday for brunch, the DJ was really, really good. When you walk into the space, it's like this beautiful boho-esque vibe. It's perfect if you want to do like a girl's day or a birthday brunch. Like this is the spot. So you can see elements of that in the decor when you walk through the restaurant. It's really, really cute, and there's a lot of, best part, Instagram moments. Yeah, as you see my pictures here. Now for the food, I only tried 1 dish. I tried the chicken and waffles, which were pretty good. And for me, what makes for good chicken and waffles is well-seasoned chicken, because a lot of people don't be seasoning their chicken, y'all. And some decent waffles, and so they were good. I would love to try some of the other stuff there, but it was definitely good. If you're looking for experience, to me, it's a good combo of experience and food. Good music, good crowd, Instagram ops, all right? Shout outs to Jessica, she's the one who put me onto that. All right, make sure y'all follow her channel. This is her picture, bloop, bloop. Yeah. Follow her. Okay, so the next spot. What did I like? Firebird. So I went to Firebird. That's in Worthing Square. I keep calling it Worthington Square, funny part. So Worthing Square is like this area where it's like a whole bunch of food stands and restaurants. It's kind of cool because a lot of people come out there to, you know, socialize or meet up with their friends and everything. So the scenery is pretty dope. But Firebird is this Indian restaurant, but it's not the Indian food that we're used to in the US, or at least I'm used to, like traditional. It's like these sandwiches or like wraps kind of, meets like tamarind wings. Personally, I had tried the tamarind wings, and the other thing that I tried, I'll pop on the screen because I can't remember the name, and that was tasty. Very good. So I would say try that spot. If waffles and chicken and all things of that nature is your thing, I went to Bliss Cafe and I really like that place. That I had, I had the caramel banana waffles.
delicious. And I will say those are some of the best waffles I've had. Waffles themselves. You are not supposed to add chicken, but you can try asking them if you'd like to. If you're feeling daring for the day, you can try asking them. But I like them a lot. Just make sure you get a lot of caramel because you need that caramel for that taste. Now, when I've gone with friends, they've tried like the wraps and they said the wraps, the jerk chicken wraps, etc. were really good. But I like the vibe of that place because once again, it just makes you feel like you're on vacation. And there's Instagram ops. People are like getting so smart here, you know? Those Instagram ops, they're smart because they encourage you to do things like this. Take pictures and post them. All right, what's my next place? That's the top 3. So I went to Cafe Soul. People have been telling me about Cafe Soul for a while, and I'm sorry, y'all, I do not have a Bajan place to tell you just yet. We're on the quest still, okay? But thus far, these are some good spots to start, and I will be back with more. So Cafe Soul sells West Indian, Mexican food. It's a vibe as well, good crowd. It's in St. Lawrence Gap, so as soon as you're done, you can always go down the street and check out whatever else is going on, which is dope and awesome. It's like a strip. Well, let's just consider it the strip of Barbados, right? So as far as Cafe Soul is concerned, Mark was our waiter. He was dope, dancing with us and everything. The music was great. The drinks are strong, y'all. They are very strong. I would definitely recommend, I think the best days to go to any of these places are, you know, like your Thursdays through Sunday, right? Obviously, Saturday and Sunday are probably gonna be the best days. So we went on a Thursday and they had happy hour, I think at 5 o'clock. 2 for 1. The drinks are strong. I'm just letting y'all know, heads up. So great news is I guess it's a great place to start off your night. But I got the fajitas. The fajitas came highly recommended. They're sizzling. The presentation was on point and it was just as tasty. If I had to choose one between the steak, the chicken, and the shrimp, I think I would go ahead and tell you guys to go and just get the Fiesta one, which gives you all 3 so that you can try them and decide for yourself. I don't know which one I think is the best. I think I would just get the Fiesta again so I can have everything. So those are my top places thus far. All right, now some places that people have been telling me about that I'm going to look out for. There's a restaurant, a Jamaican restaurant. I'm gonna pop the name down here because I can't remember it. I heard that Champers is pretty good. I need to try that place. We were trying to go there, but it was all booked up. So make sure you get your reservations. Reservations is a thing here. So if you can, I would highly recommend booking your reservations in advance just to be safe. This old house I heard is good. I heard it was a 5.
Come on in, girl. It's Sabrina from Bajan Lifestyle.
Hello.
All right, so I wanted y'all to get a local and tourist perspective on the 10 best places to eat, all right? And we're gonna categorize them. So you're gonna get the first 5 on my page and the last 5 on her page. So definitely make sure you check out Sabrina. Once again, Sabrina will give you everything you need to know as a tourist from the local perspective. So it's like the real deal information.
Definitely.
You need, y'all.
Authentic Barbados.
Yes, you ready to do this?
Yes, let's
go. Really quickly before we start, one thing I realized is New York taste buds are on in a different space, right? We're kind of like one of the meccas of cuisines. And so I've learned to put that aside and judge it on a more universal perspective. So let's jump into it, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right, so the first category is Bajan food. What's yours, Sabrina?
Mine is Tim's in Bridgetown. It's a beautiful little restaurant on Swan Street, and the food is all Bajan. Love their macaroni pie and their baked pork. So good.
The pork was good. The pork was good. Okay.
And that was in your?
It was in my food tour video, so you guys definitely have to make sure you check that out. So I haven't been to this place, but I heard it's pretty good, so I'm gonna throw it on this list, all right? Because Tim's was actually mine as well. So I'll give you guys an extra one, Velma's. I hear Velma's is really good. I don't know exactly where it's located. I'll put the link down below, but check out Velma's. I heard from a local that it's really good food, okay?
It's good. I haven't tried it either, so we should actually try it.
Yeah, we should. Joe's, a lot of people like too. They have good mac and cheese. Have you tried their mac and cheese? It's on the East Coast, Joe's. So y'all just got 3. We're gonna give you a couple of bonuses, all right? We're gonna go over 10, all right?
Yeah. The next category is nightlife.
Nightlife, okay.
What's your nightlife?
So I think I would say cocktail kitchen.
Yeah. So it's the same for both of us.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean, okay, so my personal reason is every time I'm looking for somewhere, and we're talking about like somewhere for like nightlife vibe that's surrounded by nightlife, so you can literally walk over to like wherever you need to go.
Yeah.
But whenever I ask for recommendations, I always get cocktail kitchen.
Yeah.
And it's a vibe because there's a lot of people there. People are getting, you know, like pre-gaming, I guess, and eating as well.
The food is good.
And the food is good.
Love the food there.
The food is good, yeah.
The drinks are good as well.
The drinks are good as well.
Yeah.
They are.
And it's in the Gap. So if you're not feeling the vibe there, maybe it's a little full, obviously, because it's the hype and everybody wants to go there. There's still Cafe Soul.
Oh, you can go to other places. I do like Cafe Soul too. Their drinks are strong, y'all. So that is a great place to start your night.
Designated driver as always.
Please. And you only need one. There's 2 for 1 drinks. You only need one, trust me.
Oh,
Yeah.
crave is also good too.
Oh, I haven't tried that.
Yeah, crave is good. I like
Look at
crave.
that. Like I said, we're giving y'all bonuses. Yeah. All right, so we're at the middle. Stay tuned so you can get the rest of the restaurants, guys. And then we are going to chat about street food, favorite scenery, etc. on Sabrina's channel. All right? All right, so the next one is brunch.
Yes. What's yours?
Pavao. Pavao in Sweetfield Manor. Because I feel like that one is just, I'm going to say it's a vibe again. But I just feel like when I think about like what I'm used to for brunch in New York, and there's like kind of like a party vibe, there's a DJ playing. It is beautifully decorated. We will cut to some of the scenery and whatnot. But in addition to that, when you step into the hotel, like it's beautiful in there. There's a lot of Instagram ready moments, including in the backyard as well.
And the peacock.
And the peacocks. No, how could I leave out that?
Yes.
I left out the peacocks.
Yeah.
The peacocks are there as well.
Yeah.
They're beautiful also. So it's just, to me, when I think about brunch and what it entails on a Saturday, oh, the drinks are good. I should have told you about the food, right? The drinks are very good. I had the hummingbird buzz.
Ooh.
And then like chicken and waffles they have. I had that and that was good as well. So that would be my pick.
I haven't gone, but I definitely will be going now. For myself, mine would be Cosmos. And this is,
Cosmos, okay.
Yeah, Cosmos is a little in Island, a little bit, still south, but a little bit in Island. I'm sure Shaz can put the link in the description for you guys.
Yes, yes.
But what I love is that the portions are so big. There's so much food. So beautifully placed. Everything comes on these little like little wooden
Oh, that's cute.
cutting boards.
Okay.
So cute. And the staff there are amazing. So I love Cosmos.
So I'll have to try that one because I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah.
Tell me that this video has been helpful thus far. If it is, go ahead and click the like button so the algorithm knows to share it with people. That's how you can repay me for all of this free information. Now let's jump into some Bajan slang. If you're gonna be there, might as well understand what the basic sayings mean, right? So once again, I linked up with my girl Sabrina and we walked through some of the most basic Bajan slang you're gonna hear, but probably have no clue what it means. So go ahead and take some notes.
So first off, boxy.
Boxy. Okay. So I heard the song fairly early, but I initially thought maybe like box. That's what you would think. Like a box that you pack things in.
Yeah.
But then with the context of the song, I love the song. Boxy look crawling. Cue the music.
She just rolling, calling, line two just nearly falling. Bro, start quit, so she mother calling. Never was a best buddy girl to tell me all that.
So yeah, so I knew pretty early what it meant, which is what's the official definition?
Buttocks.
Botox.
Behind
Yes,
your
right.
rear end.
So here's the funny thing. People kept saying to me while I was here, oh, do you know what boxing is? I was like, yes, I know what it means.
Because they probably think, oh, she's just so lost to these Bajan words. Nah, Barbados and a lot of Barbadian music has become a bit more international. So there are a couple slangs that everyone or more people know of than
What
you
it
would
is.
think, yeah.
But where did the word come from, boxy? Because box, behind,
Booty.
but it's not boxy, right?
Let's put the definition here.
Mm-hmm.
Boxy, and I don't think it's even B-O-X. I think it's this is what it is, and this is the definition of it. Correct. Okay, so the next word is, she calls it dunks. Don't.
You got jokes?
Yes, I got jokes. Don'ts. Pronunciation here.
How do you say it?
Don'ts.
Don'ts?
Don'ts. Dumpsy? Dumpsy?
We're talking about the fruit?
Yes, we're talking about the fruit.
Okay, so this is why when I first heard dunks, I thought it was what they were saying. A friend asked me, oh, you know what dunks are? And I'm like, the only thing I know is cue the picture, these sneakers. That's what dunks are for us. But
I wasn't even talking about that just now.
Oh, what were you talking about?
I was talking about when someone is stupid, we say, you dumpsy. So it's kind of like, dumpsy, but it's don'ts.
Don'ts.
Don'ts, yeah.
I guess y'all should know
ounce,
that.
ounce with a D in front of it.
Don'ts,
Yes,
okay.
that's one way. There are two ways to spell it, as we learned from Janelle at Liquor Stories. Check that video here.
Yeah, check that video out.
A dunce or don'ts is a fruit with a very hard, rough seed in the middle, a little bit of flesh, green, yellow, brown, and I think in Jamaica they call it snotty nose when it's brown.
I did hear that.
Yes, that's what a dunce is.
Dunce is. We're gonna add the pictures in here so you guys can see it. It tastes pretty good. Like I will say it's probably like an acquired taste. You probably never tried any fruit like that, but it's like slightly bitter. I think there are ones that are sweeter and you eat it by dipping it in salt, which I like it in the salt.
Yeah.
I like it better in the salt. So yeah, definitely check out once again the other video with the food tour that we did where we tried those. All right. So if you guys know any other words that are used for dunks, definitely comment below and add those. So we're learning, right?
Yeah,
Sharing is caring. Okay, next Bajan word.
So the next Bajan word is so damn malicious though.
So if I heard someone say malicious, I would pretty much think they're calling me evil. Like I'm trying to harm you. Like with all that, is it that serious? But apparently here it has a completely different definition.
A little bit. It's more like your nosy neighbor or someone who's trying to get into gossip, and you know you just malicious. You just in it.
Like trying to get in your business.
Yeah. You trying to get up in my business. You want all about me and my boyfriend and all that. You malicious. That's what malicious is for me. What is it for you?
What would we say?
What would you be to be someone who's nosy?
I think I would be like, why is she all up in my business? Like, or I know some people would say, depending on what it is specifically, like, why are you clocking me? If they're like paying attention to like everything you're saying or like everything you're doing or how much you're spending. I know this is a random examples, but like, let's say someone's like, you're spending too much money on your side. And it's like, why are you clocking me? Like, why are you like literally every move, you know what I'm doing. What's going on? Somebody save me.
Okay, so we need to get our rentals, right? This is how you're gonna get discounted deals and know where to stay. All right, shawties, I heard your request and I'm answering it. Here's the Barbados video on my living arrangements, how I set it up, and where I lived. You ready? Let's go. All right, number one, I personally recommend Airbnb. You know, honestly, I tried working with the whole realtor thing. That didn't work. If you're staying less than 6 months, I recommend not even looking into the realtor situation, because right off bat, a lot of these locations will charge you double because you're staying shorter than 6 months. Yes, whether it's furnished, unfurnished, none of that stuff matters. They're gonna charge you double. So the reason why I say Airbnb is because it's quick. Like, I can't tell you how much time I spent going back and forth between realtors, contacting realtors, getting in contact with a realtor, getting them to call me back, getting their recommendations for where I can stay. It was just a lot of wasted time, honestly. And I feel like you could just hop on Airbnb, plug in where you wanna stay, and then, you know, how much you wanna spend, how many number of rooms you want, etc. And it's just easier. I wasted way too much time dealing with the other outside source or other sources. So my personal advice, just go Airbnb or the other one that I mentioned. Okay, so I mentioned figuring out where you want to stay. My personal advice is stay on the South or the West Coast. I like the South Coast, and I'm so happy that I didn't end up staying on the West Coast. The West Coast is somewhere great to visit. It's the Platinum Coast. And of course, it depends on who you are and what type of person you are, etc. But I like city life. I like to see activity when I step outside of my house. I love that. And I especially want to be around a lot of locals almost everywhere I go, honestly. When it comes to the West Coast, it's called the Platinum Coast because, first of all, it's more expensive. So keep that in mind. That's something to keep in mind when you're thinking about your budget, etc. It will be more expensive, but you definitely see a lot more tourists on that side. Just giving you a heads up. Okay. Now it is beautiful, and they have, it's my understanding, some of the best restaurants are on that side. But I don't know if people are just saying that because it costs more. I don't know. You know, sometimes that's the thing. But on the South, I found that I saw more younger people like me, more single people, and more local people, which is what I wanted. All right. So my recommendation is the South. I feel like it's more accessible to get to different places like the supermarket, or hop on a ZR. If you haven't watched my video about getting around in Barbados, you should actually watch this one. I mentioned the ZR. It's like, think New York dollar van basically, but it's public transportation, cheap transportation if you choose to do public transportation. And they do have them on the Platinum Coast, but it's my understanding that they're more accessible on the South. If I'm incorrect, note it in the comments. I don't have a problem with being corrected, y'all. Please, this is a community. Sharing is caring. And then I found that a lot of the events that I was attending were on the South Coast. Yeah, yeah. A lot of my friends that I made, the expats, were staying on the South Coast. Honestly, I only knew 2 people on the West Coast. Let me just summarize it that way. Now you do the math. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these tips. They're helpful, right? If they are, go ahead and click the like button. It lets the algorithm know that this is a good video, and it shares it with other people. Number 3, ask for a discount. So if we're going with my recommendation of Airbnb, you have a couple of options. Right off bat, Airbnb will give you a discount if you're staying long-term. So this isn't for my tourists who are visiting just for a week. If you're staying long-term, that means over, I'd say 2 months. I think the discount usually kicks in after 2 or 3 months. It'll automatically give you a discount usually. But I'm of the mindset of don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness. So I just asked for another discount. Why not? It's up to them if they want to say no, you know? And the judgment's on you, you know? Like if it's locals, you might have a different viewpoint on that, right? As opposed to some expats that are there renting their Airbnb. But I found that when I asked most people, they were willing to increase the discount. And even if it's increased by 10%, right? It's usually like 20% to 30%. If they add an extra 10%, that is great, right? Now, there's a way to ask. You definitely don't want to be like, can I get a discount? I would say something like, well, considering the fact that this is 4 to 6 months, if you're staying for that long, would it be possible to apply a discount of 40%? And then I would sugarcoat everything else, the words surrounding it, like, hey, Helen, nice to meet you. I'm sorry, it's an inside joke with my mom. Okay, really quick side note. Growing up, my mom, and she's West Indian, always used to pull, to me, I thought these random names for any example that she gave. So Tom or Dick or Harry, and I'm like, where do you get these names from? Because a lot of people I knew who were Black, African-American, did not have these names. But I recently put 2 and 2 together, literally yesterday, and realized a lot of folks in the Caribbean have British names. Like their names are Mary, Helen, like I said, Kathleen is my mom's name, Charles, you know what I'm saying? Names like this. And so I was like, oh, now I get it. Why you were using what I thought were these random names, but they weren't random to you. So start out with, hi, Helen. Pleasure to meet you. Hope you're having a lovely day. And then continue onward, right? Let me know if that works for you. I would also add in, after my hey Helen, hope you're having a great day, I'm in the process of deciding between a couple of locations. I like yours. Let's add that in there so she knows she's not the only one and you have some leverage. And then continue on with my suggestion, all right? Another option for a discount is if you're a photographer, offer to take updated images for them. All right. I mean, you're not going to know if they need updated images. Sometimes they have new furniture. Sometimes you can just see right off bat that their images are questionable. So go ahead, offer your services, all right? And offer it for a discount. And then my personal advice, if you're going to be doing photography for their space, as soon as you get in the space, take the pictures so that you can just relax and enjoy your life after, and you don't have to worry about adjusting things to make sure they look good for the picture. I told my person to arrange the place in the way she would like it to look for the images. And then I took the pictures and then I lived my life. Tip number 4. This last tip lends itself to, once again, getting a more budget-friendly option. So I would definitely say book early, book as early as you can. And the thing about Barbados is it's becoming even more popular, okay? So if you can book months in advance, go ahead and do that. 1, you'll have way more options. And 2, you'll have way more budget-friendly options, whatever your budget is, all right? And of course, if you're booking an off season, then that's going to be cheaper as well. And I believe their off season is May to July, and it might be in the fall as well, I'm not sure. But I know they're definitely heavy, like around, I think, February to April or January to April. All right, so let me show you guys where I was staying. Ooh, one more thing. A friend had suggested this to me. If you can, try some different locations. Like I mentioned, the South Coast and the West Coast. You could definitely spend a week or a month, if you're spending a couple of months in Barbados, on the West Coast, just to see how you liked it. I did a weekend there and it was cool with my friends for my birthday. We had a great time. You know, of course, like I said, I concluded the South was best for me, but at least I got that experience. So that's some advice to you as well. As long as you don't mind picking up your stuff and packing up your stuff again, which I actually don't like. So I think I personally would not move more than twice. But if you don't mind, go ahead and do your thing. Now, driving in Barbados is doable, but it's not easy. Take note of these driving lessons that I picked up in my first couple of months. I want this to expedite your process so that you are a Barbados driving pro. I got faith in you. You got this.
Now, I am not an expert. Let me just start off by saying that, all right? But driving in Barbados is really hard. It's not just a matter of staying on the left side. I thought that's all it was, and I thought I was good the first day because I pretty much conquered that. But no, it is a whole other thing, and I actually feel like it'd probably be helpful for people to have like a video like this when they're about to take on this journey, because it is a journey. I'm about a month in and I think I'm just starting to feel like, okay, I think you got this. I think you might actually be a good Barbados driver. Number 1, the roundabouts. So let's start with the 2-lane roundabout. If you are in the left lane, you are going left or straight around the roundabout and continuing on the road to go straight, all right? Important thing to keep in mind if you're in a 2-lane. If you're in the right lane, you are either going straight or you're continuing around the roundabout to take a right or almost U-turn, basically. That sounds simple enough, right? People don't explain it simply, not everyone. But my best advice I could give you is to take your time, because there's a ton of cars coming around 2 lanes in a roundabout. And so you almost have to wait. There's no stoplights. You have to wait to see when's your time. Like, can I go in like double dutch? Am I going in now? Oh, now. All right. So just take your time, because if you do that wrong, you asking for a bad accident. Here's another point to that note. And when you get to the end of the roundabouts, when you're going through, let's say we're going straight and I go around that roundabout and now I'm continuing on the road, right when you get out the roundabout, there's a walkway for pedestrians, y'all. Yes. So make sure you keep your eyes out just in case someone's crossing, because that's another way there could be a horrible accident, all right? That is the most important point in this whole video, okay? The roundabouts. You conquer that, you've conquered like half of it. There's a 3-lane roundabout usually, and I would encourage you to look more into this. The left lane is to go left, the middle one is to go straight, and I think the right one is to go either straight or around. Another thing to keep in mind with the roundabouts is that whoever's in the roundabout has the right of way. That's why you should let it clear until you see a good space to get into. But once again, look into it, all right? Don't let me be the reason why you get into an accident, but now you know at least what you need to look into. Number 2. There's a sign that says give way. And I saw this sign, I was like, what does give way mean? I don't know what that means. And now to me, it makes perfect sense. But I guess if you're not culturally like used to that, you're like, what the heck is give way? Give way is like stop. Let the person to the right go in front of you, basically. And that's what I was told. The people to the right have the right of way. So that's what give way means. Look out for the person to the right, let them go. If it's clear, you can go. Point number 3, if you are on the highway, and once again, you want to pay attention to the signs, the arrows on the road, but if you are in the left lane, you're looking to go straight, you want to stay in the left lane, because in the right lane is where they're turning, off to the right. In the left lane is where they're turning off to the left, but also staying straight. So if you're staying straight on the highway, you want to stay in the left lane. Okay, so when I say highway, their highways don't look like US highways. They're main roads. I guess they're equivalent to like a main road for us. But are they treated like our highways? Not exactly, because there'll be people walking on the highways. They definitely drive slower on the highways, and it might be like just 2 lanes, 1 lane this way, 1 lane that way. There's one highway that I saw that I think was 3 lanes on each side, but I just can't remember which one it is. So if you're on the highway, which looks like a main road, it's just like driving in the US, you have the right of way. Anybody turning on has to wait for it to clear before they turn on. Now, the only thing I will say I've noticed, someone in the comments correct me if I'm wrong, but for some of these roads that are highways, and some of them really just look like streets. So I was so confused when people were saying, go to the highway or turn on the highway. I'm like, where's the highway? I haven't seen a highway yet, but those are highways. So for those highways that look like streets, if it doesn't say stop or give way, you can continue on the road. You will always stop at a roundabout, keep that in mind. But aside from the roundabouts, if it does not say stop or give way, or there's an obvious sign there, you can continue on the road, and it's the people who are coming in. So even if you're turning, it might look like, wait, I should probably stop here because there's a road that way, and then I can turn this way, and maybe there looks like there's something off that way. You are on the main road, you are on the highway once again. So you have the right of way, and people have to wait for you. Next point. Did I say that there weren't stoplights? There actually are stoplights, I'm sorry, but sparingly, very, very few. So look out for those. Because for me, while I was driving, I was thinking, okay, there's no traffic lights, so I'll just, I wasn't looking for them. And then all of a sudden, I think I was heading to Bridgetown. There's one on the right side, like all the way over there. I'm not looking over there because I'm in this lane, the left lane, but I almost drove through it. Don't judge me. So look out for those traffic lights. They happen more so, I think, in Bridgetown. Once again, if you know where else they are, like drop it in the comments below so everybody knows. Okay, this next point is for, and there's so many more, so stay tuned. This is only part 1, but this is my last point. This is for my New Yorkers, because I kept asking this question and I think people were like, why? But parking, in New York, we're so used to there not being parking. We have to pay for parking. Parking is like a whole thing that requires much more time and effort and figuring out before you get somewhere. But just like all other states, etc., parking is usually right there next to the location. And I know some people are like, duh, of course. But the reason why I didn't think this was true is because first couple of places I was going, which were in Bridgetown, did not have parking. And I had to go look for parking. It was very similar to the New York experience. So I kind of just assumed that the way most places were, like at least the city-like places, but that is not the case. So that is my final point. I hope that this helps you. If you have been to Barbados, have drove in Barbados, and you have any more points that you want to drop below and share with us, go ahead and drop them below because we need it. I probably need it as well because every time I go out, it's been like over a month, there's still surprises where I'm like, oh, okay, learn something new. But this is not for the faint of heart, y'all. Like, I would highly recommend, if you know locals, have them take you out onto the road and show you how to drive, narrate their mindset and thought process as they're driving, and then hop in the passenger seat with you as you are driving. I had to do that a couple of times with different people, and it was so helpful.
Now, if you follow my channel, you already know I love to work out and I love soca. So we get the combination of the two. It's wonderful. This is my favorite soca class. This is something you need to try, trust me. So I took a class with Spinny. It is a soca class. And I'll be honest, I've done a couple of soca classes before, and it's been like, sometimes I like it, sometimes I'm like, yeah, I could have stayed home. I'll tell you why. When it comes to the dance aerobics classes, for me, I'm not looking for choreography because I feel like there's a time and a place for that. I'm looking for the aerobics part that you mentioned and what you were talking about. So I like to get the sweat, but then I also want to have fun, and I want to be doing moves that are native to West Indian culture and the soca culture overall. And honestly, y'all, when I tell you, I think he did the perfect combination of that. Like, I was sweating. So let me set this up for you guys. First off, when you get there, there's great music playing. Sometimes they have food. I highly recommend, if you see that he's doing a class like out in a field or on a boat, that is going to be the class that has the most people. It's fun, the small class, but it's gonna be even more fun if you go to one of those larger events or something that he's doing around the time of crop over. You're gonna have a really good time. The music just gets me in the vibe. And then he starts out good with a nice like warm up, right? But we're still doing soca moves. One thing that's important to me, because why did I go to the soca class if we're not gonna be doing soca moves? You know what I'm saying? Then there's like all this cardio movement and stretches, which I greatly, greatly appreciated, y'all. And the thing about Spinny is he has personality, which I like. I like when people act up and they got problems. That's what we call in Rhode Island. You got problems, you goofy, you like to act up. I love it. But me and my girls, we really enjoyed it. This is gonna be a short video, y'all. But there was lots of whining. There was lots of high intensity training, interval training, I felt. I'm gonna leave it at that, okay? There was some good leg work. Like, even though we didn't have weights, my thighs were burning the next day. That is what I'm talking about. And then there was also at the end, like a little dance session where everyone just freestyles and does whatever they wanna do. But when I tell you guys, it was so much fun. I thought the teacher was great. I see why he calls it cultural cardio, because it's definitely making sure that it infuses the culture of Barbados into it. You're hearing music that is Bajan music. You are getting all of the energy of Bajan culture. And when I have to say, Spinny, hats off, you did a phenomenal job. You did a phenomenal job. You did a phenomenal job. So I highly recommend that class. To anyone who is interested in a new experience and you go to Barbados, go ahead and check it out. I'm gonna link him below, all right? You can go to his Instagram page. He usually like posts his classes there. And then you'll also see footage of like other classes he's done as well, all right? So you can check that out. Okay, calling all my expats, you need to know where to buy your groceries, right? And you probably are wondering how much these items cost. So here are 50 plus products. I walk you through them. I also tell you the best places to buy your groceries. And then also I'm gonna share with you some local brands that'll save you a little money on your budget. Now, quick reminder, I've got a PDF below in the description with my top 5 favorite restaurants, favorite nightlife, favorite everything you need to know about Barbados to make your life easier. Links and addresses included. So go ahead and click that so that you can save yourself time on the research part.
All right, y'all, so I am outside of Popular, which is where I personally do all of my grocery shopping. But if you're moving to Barbados or wondering where can I find the best, pocket-friendly options, I'm gonna show you this supermarket, and then I'll also do some comparisons for different prices at different places like Price Mart. Stay tuned if you want that information, all right? We're going in. I don't eat them, but it gives you an idea of the pricings. Sausage costs $25. Remember, 2 Bajan dollars equals 1 US dollar. I thought this was different. This fish sausage, I've never heard of that, ever. Dolphin tilapia, never ever heard of that. I might try it.
So surprisingly, the mincemeat is not cheaper here than at Massey's, which is great for me because I live closer to a Massey supermarket. It's usually like 9 Bajan dollars. This is a whole aisle of wine. I don't know why, but the only pricing that I can remember is this one. So this would come to around $11.50 or so, which is pretty good. I think ours is usually $13. Correct me if I'm wrong. Toaster strudel is $15, so cut it in half and that's the price. Buy local if you can, it's cheaper. I kind of really wanted to try this sauce. Like, it sounds really good, spicy mayo, but it's like 26 grams of fat, dang. But we gonna do it sparingly. This one looks kind of good too. Yogurt and mint. This is like the same price as Trader Joe's in the US for sure. 32 is around $15 for that much. It's the same. Okay, so I think this is around a good price for chicken. 20 bucks. This one costs even less. This one is a splurge, but I think it comes to like $11.99 Bajan, but I've really been craving some Alfredo, so I'm gonna go with this. Yeah, we're gonna go with this. So this one I wanted to try. I don't know what Bajan seasoning consists of exactly, but I tried this curry paste and it was really good, so I'm gonna try this one too. Wait, now I'm in debate about this one because this one says homemade. Which one to go with? Okay, I just asked somebody and they said that Amanda's is a good brand, so Amanda's wins. Papaya chutney. Never heard of that. That's the thing I loved about this supermarket, so many different foods to try, and I love trying new foods. So this is the options for seasonings. You can definitely buy the familiar brand McCormick, or you could look below and do the local brand, which is like half the price. So once again, it's definitely cheaper to buy the local brands, but the hard part is knowing which local brands are good. So I like to ask people in the supermarket, honestly, if they've tried these before and which one they recommend. And honestly, people have been pretty open to helping. Okay, so I have this brand at home. This is for the pasta, around $2.40, and this pasta is pretty good. Versus this one you can get for much, much cheaper. So the funny thing is, I was excited about this. I was like, oh, it's $2.99, which means it's $1.50 US. But then I saw this. This bad boy was $1.75, and I was like, oh, we gonna do the $1.75. Shoot, because why not save money? Actually, I changed my mind. I decided to go with the Kraft. I wanted to know for sure it was something I would like. So one thing I like about this shelf is there's so many flavors. You've got banana, pineapple, mixed fruit, coconut, bay leaf. Ooh, maybe I'll try banana. I've tried the coconut one and it was actually pretty good. And there's mixed ones, there's lemon essence. Oh my gosh, I'm in like an essence candy store. Yeah, once again, these brands are not local and they're much more expensive. Flour is definitely not expensive because they've got their own Bajan Pride flour. Okay, so I usually go with the spray olive oil. So this one is $4 US. If you want a bigger bottle of coconut oil, that's $3 and you get more bang for your buck. Ooh, guava. And I feel like this one's probably gonna taste better than a guava juice in the US, so we're gonna get this too. I'm really hoping this is tasty. Please don't disappoint me. That's the price. That's average. About $2.15 in US. Cereal is a luxury here, y'all. So I usually get this cheese in the US, but let's find a local brand here. Yeah, this one is cheaper. It's like $3. So let's get this one. Look at this juice, y'all. I think that's more expensive than it is in the US. Drop a comment below if I'm wrong. I tried guava jam last time, which was really good in this brand, Caribbean Treats, but they don't have it. So I'm gonna try banana jam and see how that is. Yeah, so they didn't have the guava jam I wanted. So I think the key to figuring out if it's good guava jam is like if it's thick in the bottom, I think. This one looks a little more see-through and pinkish versus this. So I think this one is legit. So I was looking at this one first and I was like, oh, this is cheap. But then I looked down and I was like, oh, this one's even cheaper. And I'm actually familiar with this brand, so why not? So I got these. These are $3 each. I usually get like 3 of these packs for $5 US. So this one I usually get at Massey's for a $6.99. So you see it's $4.99 here. So I saved like $1 US. Every dollar counts. So I heard this Gorilla Gel is better than the yellow one. It was like $7.99 Bajan, so like $4 US. I think that's around the same price. All right, so this is what I mean when I say it's expensive to live here sometimes with the US brands. As you guys see, the price is like $14, $15 for some laundry detergent, a small size at that. But once again, I decided to ask a few folks about the other brands to find a local cheaper option. And they recommended this one, the Lily Blue, and said it was really good. And it smelled really good. See that? It's half the price. So this one was a really hard one because I don't know which local brands are good, but the prices look great. Some of them look pretty thin, and it's important for me, my toilet paper, to be good quality and like a decent thickness. All right, y'all, we did a successful run and it feels good. We spent a good amount of money, but it was definitely cheaper than the Massey supermarket for sure. I'll be shopping at Popular again. There is sometimes a line that you have to wait in, but I don't mind it. If I can get better pricing, it's worth it for me. And the best time to come is in the morning, like say 10 a.m. if you can, because it'll be a much shorter wait and less traffic. I also think Popular has a lot of stuff here. People say Massey's has more, but this served its purpose for me. Personally, I think Popular is better, but you can also get certain things at Massey, so I hope this was helpful, y'all.
Now, here's the one that everyone asked me. How do you make friends in another country? I literally sat down and I thought about it, and I made a video. Here are the 3 categories, the pillars, that I think are most important for making friends abroad. May this bless you. May it help you to flourish your friendships in this experience if you're going to be an expat, not only in Barbados, but in any country. I want you to remember these 3 pillars, okay? They're gonna help you succeed in this. There's common interests, how you add value, and being a pleasant person. Let's get into it. Number 1, use all of your available resources, okay? So let's start with the internet. Facebook groups is wonderful for making friends, especially now while so many people are traveling. There's a ton of expat groups. There's an expat one that I will link below for Black expats for Barbados, and then I'll link another one for expats in general in Barbados, and you guys can check that out. Have you ever used Facebook groups to find friends? If so, type Facebook in the comments. I'm curious. I want to know. And I said this before, but I also found some of my friends on YouTube and Instagram. And really the theme of that is finding commonalities. So clearly you're watching me here on YouTube. That is something that we had in common. And so I would suggest searching on Instagram or searching on YouTube for people who relate to what you like. For me, I might look up other video producers. I might look into people who enjoy surfing if I like to surf. You get me? When you meet people, follow them on Instagram. Imagine adding someone on Instagram. You just met them in your city, they're from Spain. And then when you add them, you see that you guys have like 10 friends in common. What in the world? That's a talking point right there. And you instantly feel a little bit more comfortable because you're like, okay, these are some of my closest friends. They all know you. now the conversation starts flowing. That's something that I didn't realize until the end. That is something so small, but it makes the biggest difference. And it also allows you to stay updated on what they're doing and keep the conversation going without it having to be a phone call or you guys meeting up. You want to reach out to people you know, okay? See if you know someone who knows somebody in that city or in that country, and see if they can connect you. That's another way that I was able to make friends. Thankfully, some of my friends connected me with their friends, and then that just literally domino effect. The funny thing about it is I didn't do any of this with strategy. But because you guys kept asking, I had to sit down and figure out, okay, how did this work? I chatted with some of my other friends who are expats in different countries, and I'm like, what have you noticed worked? And I started being able to pinpoint the things that God was able to use in me to help me make and create these great friendships. If you don't need to live alone, get a roommate, because right off bat, that's gonna be someone who could be a partner in this experience with you, or worst case, they're gonna have other friends who you might meet, who you might become friends with. Sometimes the person who you meet first doesn't end up being the long-term friend. They might connect you to other people who you end up being closer with. And that's just the funny way that it works sometimes. And then it should absolutely be a goal to mix with locals as well, but get a good mix of locals and expats. Because the thing about expats, wherever they are, wherever they live, wherever they hang out, you guys are always gonna have this one thing in common. You all decided to come from another country and live in this particular country. And so it's the perfect foundation and place to start. Number two is, are you outside? I believe it was Beyonce who said, you say you outside, but you ain't that outside. Are you really truthfully being honest with yourself and taking advantage of opportunities to meet people? Because if you stay inside the house all day, every day of the week, you are not going to meet a ton of people that way. How often should you be outside? I would say every time someone invites you somewhere, go. Unless you don't enjoy hanging out with that person, then don't go. Unless you have work to do, then don't go. But if you don't have a legitimate reason to not go, go. Be outside. Like, this is the one time you could be outside. When I say be outside, I don't mean like clubs and things like that, because I don't even think you're gonna make friends like that in those type of environments. If you make friends in those type of environments, it's gonna be extremely surfacey. And I don't really know how much deeper you're gonna get with that, honestly. So when I say be outside, I mean events. If someone invites you to an event, definitely go. Friend events. Say it's a birthday party, say it's some sort of celebration, say it's a sports game, go. Go, because those are the best opportunities to meet people. Try working somewhere where there are a lot of people. Hostels, that's great too if you're a hostel type person. My whole YouTube channel is about life hacks for better living. So if you found this to be helpful, go ahead and click subscribe and the notifications bell so you know when I post a video. Also, if you want to chat with me, I post videos every Sunday at 11 a.m. So come on down and chat. I'm here in the comments talking to you guys. Now, for one of the pillars, I mentioned that you must be a pleasant person. So in a day and age where mental wellness is top of mind, we're having a lot of conversations about traumatic things that have happened in our lives, or just realizing things that we can change to make life better. Be honest with yourself and ask yourself if you're a pleasant person to be around. And don't just base it on whether or not people laugh when they're around you. Here's a few questions to ask yourself. Are you conflict-free? Do you lose friends often? Do people complain about maybe say the way you speak to people or things that you do? Even if it's not all the time, are the complaints there? Are you boring? Do you spend the time at an event like kind of in your phone? You don't really add much to the experience. Are you one of those people who complain a lot? Are you often sensitive and so maybe people feel like they have to walk on eggshells around you? So here's the thing, a lot of the people that this applies to don't even realize that it applies to them. But the reason why I asked the first couple of questions in the beginning is because it's worth thinking about, and hopefully it'll trigger a thought to ask yourself like, oh, is this something that might be an issue for me? You might want to work on it, because these are going to be the things that are going to create obstacles and make it harder for you to make friends abroad. I know me personally, I know a lot of people, and when I meet new friends, because I already have a set of friends where I am, where I live, I'm not pressed to bring new friends into the group. And so the people that I find myself reaching out to again are folks who are a pleasure to be around. Do you make people feel good when you're around them? Like, do you uplift them? Are you compassionate? Are you like a good cheerleader for people in general? Like, they add to the experience for me. I don't need someone to just be like neutral. If you're neutral, you're not the first person I'm thinking about when I want to go out or things like that. But if you're someone I know, I'm gonna have a great time with them. And I don't mean like a party animal. I just mean someone who's pleasant to be around. They're easy breezy, and easy is the key part. Are you easy to be around? People pleasing is not something I'm an advocate at all, because we're not about that life. But are you just easy to be around? Are you a good +1? There's some people who they might come into a situation, and versus being a good +1 where you just kind of, once again, easy, go with the flow, they're making demands. Oh, well, are we going to this place because I don't like this? Or are we doing this because it's too expensive for me? Or, you know, like, are you a good +1? So those are things to think about, because if you're a joy to be around, you're pleasant to be around, more people are gonna think about you, and more people are gonna invite you out when things are happening in this new country or new city. Okay, number 4, maintenance. That is key, okay? It's one thing to make these friends. It's one thing to be a pleasant person, but like, how are you maintaining these relationships? One way is definitely gonna be being outside, but the other way is just being a human being. When a person comes to mind, message them. If you see something that's hilarious, hit them and share it with them. And then use Instagram. As I mentioned before, like, that's a great way to stay in touch with people and top of mind, just by liking and commenting quality comments without having to always see them in person or on the phone. It's something that kind of helps fill the space in between time when you haven't seen each other. So one thing I've realized about my life is I've been so focused on figuring out how to properly network that it's almost subconsciously bled into me building friendships in a positive way. And so this is part of what I'm gonna get into for my introverts, how I learned to, you know, and if you wanna watch a video on networking, I have one right here. It's a masterclass that I did with 3 other panelists on how to master networking. But you gotta figure out how you can add value. And adding value doesn't always mean like you're the person who gets people into events or you're the person who can pay for things. No, okay? Once again, we also don't wanna be like used and abused, okay? If you can figure out what your common interests are with someone, that's usually where you can find your value. And also just listening and paying attention to the things that they're genuinely interested in. Actually, for networking, sometimes I'll make a note after I've like done lunch with somebody on the things that they mentioned that they're into or their goals or whatnot. So I can reference that later if there's a way that I can be of help with it. And feel free to do it for friendships. It might feel weird, but ain't nobody gonna know you did the notes except for you. So it's fine. But when it comes to maintaining a relationship, it's usually a matter of common interests, reaching out to them, and where you can add value. And so I would definitely say when you think about them, reach out to them. And another thing, remember, people who are friends don't have to be like your best friends. They don't have to be the friends you do everything with. I strongly believe in like friendship categories. Like there's some people that you literally just talk to about close things in your life, right? There's some people who you go out to events with. You might have one friend who you only do grocery runs with, and that's okay. Like the person who you go to events with does not have to be the person you do grocery runs with, just because if it doesn't make sense, don't force it. Just let it be. That's the beautiful thing about relationships. They can serve different purposes and they don't have to fit in all the buckets. Okay, so for all my introverts, I mentioned that I was gonna talk about how I was able to branch outside of feeling everything that introverts feel and being more comfortable around people. It took a lot of intentionality, which you're absolutely going to have to do on this journey, but I definitely recommend starting now in your own city. This is something I've been working on for years, and I know you might feel like, oh, I don't have years. I'm trying to do this trip in a few months. It's fine, start now, because either way, you're going to see progression regardless. So first thing I would say, put yourself in uncomfortable spaces. Go places alone, but safe, and during the day, and make yourself talk to people. It is going to be cringy in the beginning, but eventually you will get over it. Let me put it this way. I'm in a situation right now, I'm trying to figure out getting comfortable with reaching out to people to request things when I haven't spoken to them in a long time. It is cringeworthy for me right now, but I know ultimately I'll get over it and be comfortable, probably make a video on it as well. The next thing I would say to do is research. I know it sounds weird researching friendships and how to be friends, but you're already on this video, so you might as well continue. Look up on YouTube how people network, because it's the same thing. It's just that hopefully you'd be genuine either way, right? But you don't want it to feel as formatted when it's friendships. But honestly, the same strategies work. And then also research how to make friends, research platforms that people use, research, and put it into practice. That is the way that we become great at anything. And so why not apply it to this? So I hope that encouraged you. If you want to see more of my Barbados experience, I've got a whole Barbados travel series right here. Definitely check it out. I cover everything from nightlife, when I moved, how to grocery shop, soca dance classes, where to stay. It's all in there. Go ahead and click here. Enjoy.